Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We have an absolutely wonderful panel for us today. Some of the smartest people in the crypto industry right now, and talking about one of the greatest topics in the crypto industry, which is scaling blockchains towards mass adoption. So, my name is Piers Ridyard. I am the CEO of Radix DLT, a public ledger focused on giving DeFi builders everything they need to obsolete traditional finance by decentralizing the $360 trillion global financial industry. Today, I'm joined by four titans of the public ledger industry, each of whom have an incredible background, and I will give you a fast introduction now before we get onto the first topics. Firstly, we have Emin Shapiro, CEO of the Mina Foundation and co-creator of Mina, the world's lightest blockchain that manages to keep the entire state of a ledger in a mere 22 kilobytes, which is the same size as a single tweet. A self-professed computer science and crypto geek, and the secret of Mina blockchain comes from their fascinating use of zero-knowledge proofs to roll up huge amounts of information into tiny amounts of verifiable data. Mina is optimizing blockchain size to achieve scalability. Next, we have Dr. Stan Kladko, a former physicist at Stanford University and co-founder of CTO of SKALE Labs, a layer 2 for Ethereum that adds scalability and functionality for decentralized applications. Stan's startup background comes from the traditional Web 2.0 infrastructure space, and he and the SKALE Lab teams is working hard to bring that flexibility and power to decentralized ledgers to make it easy to build richly featured, highly scalable decentralized applications on Ethereum. SKALE is achieving application-specific layer 2 side chains to achieve scale. Next, we have Professor Ben-Sasson, a giant of mathematics and cryptography who founded Zcash. He also helped build practical implementations of ZK snarks, advised Ethereum on the inclusion of those primitives into the Ethereum public ledger, and is behind much of the layer 2 scaling technology that is being built by so many teams on Ethereum today. He's also one of the co-creators or the creator of ZK Starks, which is another profound breakthrough in scalable, transparent proof systems. Eli is president and co-founder of Starkware and is building incredible breakthroughs in zero-knowledge proof systems to add incredible scalability to decentralized applications like DYDX. I summarize that as creating application-specific, as creating application scalability through transparent zero-knowledge proofs. Lastly, we have Professor Emin, CEO of Ava Labs, professor of computer science at Cornell University, author of a paper on selfish mining, which is the third most cited paper in the crypto space after the Bitcoin white paper and the Ethereum white paper. He created a number of different consensus algorithms that are behind other platforms that you guys will have heard of, like Waves and Eternity. He's the co-author of the Avalanche consensus algorithm and architect behind the public decentralized ledger Avalanche, a rapidly growing, innovative decentralized ledger that has recently crossed the $14 billion market cap and has over $4.5 billion in total value locked in its DeFi ecosystem. A fantastic panel. So, we have three topics for discussion today. The first topic is going to be a picture painting exercise. What does mainstream scale mean for the crypto space? And let's have some spine-tingling ideas about what the opportunity is here. So I'm going to start with Gun.
Sure. Whoa, this is very loud. But okay, so the thing that gets me out of bed every morning, the thing that gets me really, really excited, and the vision behind Avalanche is not to compete with the dollars of the world. It is not to compete with euros of the world. That's a great fight. That's a fight for others. It is not to build an internet computer. That's interesting. It's a good play box. It's a good sandbox. So other people are doing it. That is not what we're after. We are here to digitize all of the world's assets. We built a system from the ground up that has at its core the notion of an asset. If you look at other systems, they don't. Assets are add-ons. The miners or the validators involved in those systems don't even know what they're dealing with. In Avalanche, an asset is a first-class abstraction, and our goal, the thing that gets me super excited, is to open up for everybody's consumption, trade, and transfer those assets that are currently lying inert on people's balance sheets. There is about 72 trillion of assets in the world. Money is just one of them. And our goal is to take those assets and to open them up and to take them out of silos guarded by middlemen and to turn them into things that anybody can trade flat in a flat universe without having to seek permission from anybody else. That's our vision. It's very, very simple and quite different, it turns out. Even though it's so simple to express, it's quite different from everybody else's or many other coins operation and goal. That's us.
That's awesome. Awesome. Evan?
Yes. I think the way that we usually often think about this is crypto has reached a point now where it kind of feels like it's getting usability within the crypto native ecosystem. But it has a long way to go before it's something that kind of the regular person is actually using. And one thing we think about a lot is what tools kind of remain to get built in order to make that possible. So particularly from the zero-knowledge proof angle, there are things like identity that you don't want to put your social security number on chain, but you do want to be able to identify yourself for some applications, or putting things like your financial history or your social media data or other things that are like you're going to need to interact with the crypto world, but you don't want to just like put on chain. Things like zero-knowledge proofs gives you a way to start doing that in a way that keeps privacy. So I think that where we are now, we're missing a lot of those primitives still. So that's something that we think a lot about, and I think will be a key to getting it to like this really mainstream level, as you have mentioned.
That's awesome. Stan?
Yeah, so when we actually went to VCs like in 2017 and created SKALE, the vision that we sold to VCs was that we're going to take Web 2 and move it to Ethereum-compatible Web 3, essentially replacing every website with a blockchain. And we talked about things like decentralized Uber, decentralized Google. Drivers pay to Uber 30% every time. They hate it. You could create a Uber where drivers pay 0. You could decentralize Google, Twitter. Actually asked on Twitter which company people want to decentralize most. And they say Google. Google is such a crappy company. I remember, when I first saw Google in 1999, they were just a fantastic search engine. And now you search Google, and they just shovel into you this information which you just don't need. It's just total crap, I think. So, and my personal reason why I got so excited, definitely it's such an interesting field, but another thing is that it allows us to solve problems that seem to be unsolvable. Like, in our world, basically what we have is that we have Wall Street and we have Washington, D.C., and we have people in Washington, D.C. printing money, and this money goes into the Wall Street, and people in the third world pay for it. So there's pretty much no way for these people in the third world to actually get out of this crappy life they have, and I think blockchain provides this way. And that's actually one of the reasons we think at SKALE that we really like what we do.
It's awesome. Ellie?
So looking around the world, one could be a bit dystopian. A lot of our information is now harvested, packaged, and monetized by these big trusted parties. And we're not happy with that. We sort of woke up and realized that that's not the way it should be. And it happened very quickly, right? And of course, the more we move things of importance over to the virtual and digitized world, the more this is hurting us. So, but of course, the answer to that is, democratizing and decentralizing again, and that's exactly what blockchains at their core offer. They offer this more democratic notion where the root of trust is not based on, big trusted parties, be they banks or Googles or whatnot, but it should be sort of made in a way that everyone is invited to inspect the integrity of the full system, and that's what blockchains deliver. However, they have this issue of scale. They have several issues, but one of them is one of scale. And what really gets me up in the morning and very excited is the fact that there's this technology based on very deep math and cryptography that goes back a few decades that is just perfectly fit for empowering blockchains to reach even greater scale. And what Starkware is doing, and there are others as well doing that, O of One and Mina and many others, Zcash and others, it's a big effort across many teams, is using this amazing technology coming from cryptography, science, math, and using it to reach massive scale and offer privacy and a lot of good things. So that's number one thing that gets me up in the morning.